Hi, I'm Kim Porter from New Frontiers. May I introduce Nikki Guskos?
Hi, everyone. I'm the recruiter for the English Montreal School Board. Thank you so much on a Thursday evening when you should be having your supper. You're actually spending your time with us. Thank you so much.
And we have Clarice Acho Tinda.
Hi everyone, I'm Clarice. I'm from Lester B. Pearson. I see some names that I recognize on the screen, and hopefully you've taken out time and you get some useful information from us today.
Clarice will start with a small description about her school board.
Okay. So I am from Lester B. Pearson School Board, and after Nikki, we are the second largest English school board in Quebec. We serve over 25,000 students with a network of 36 elementary schools, 10 high schools, a couple of vocational centers, and 2 adult education centers as well. And our schools, even though we are English school board, we are pretty bilingual. So we run a bilingual French immersion program, which is guided by the Ministry of Education, as you all know. And we're really, really proud of some of the values that Lester B. Pearson stands for. We value inclusivity within our schools. We believe that all of our kids and all the people working at Lester B. Pearson, really that together we can all succeed. We value that spirit of community as well. We think our schools, we have different schools in different areas, but we believe that we form one big community. And there's innovation as well, that we want to be excellent. We want to, do great in what we're doing. And we invest that as well in our teachers, in a mentorship program and professional development programs. We value integrity as well as respect. So today I'll be telling you maybe a little bit more about some of the HR tips and then some of the peculiarities of Lester B. Pearson as we go along.
And here is a map of Lester B. Pearson School Board.
Yes, and for those that do not know where we're from, we extend from the southwest, that is in the La Salle, Verdun, Lachine area, up into the West Island, and we go out westward, right up to the boundary with Ontario, Saint-Lazare, and the Hudson area as well.
Thank you, Clarice. Nikki.
Super. So thank you, Clarice. So when it comes to the English Montreal School Board, we definitely pride ourselves on our high graduation and success rate, which is at approximately 95%. We are the largest English school board in Quebec. We have approximately 35,000 students in the youth, meaning elementary schools, high schools, also in the adult and vocational centers. Our mission basically is to support our schools and centers in their efforts to educate our students in a caring, safe, and inclusive community environment. I have to say, with the New Frontier School Board, Lester B. Pearson School Board, and the EMSB, we have a very similar philosophy and similar core values, and that is why we decided to do a presentation jointly this evening with you.
Thank you.
Our
and I'm going to just send you your map. There's your big map.
Super. Thanks so much. So our schools go all the way to the East End RDP, and it comes all the way to the western part of Montreal, which is Pointe St. Charles, NDG, Côte St. Luc, Ville Saint Laurent. So we cover a huge territory. When it comes a little bit further west, that's when it's Lester B. Pearson. A little bit further south, that's when there's New Frontiers and a few other school boards, and north is another school board as well. But we cover a very, very large territory. All of our schools are accessible by bus and metro, which is an extra bonus factor. Thank you.
All right. So I'm the New Frontier School Board. Funny enough, I started my career at English Montreal. I worked many years for Lester B, and I agree with Nikki that we all share the same philosophies. We have the same goals. We want our environment to be nurturing, caring, safe for not only the students, but the teachers. We are on the outskirts of Montreal. We're a small board with a very large bilingual territory. We go from Chateauguay all the way to the American border. and the Ontario border on the right, we call it the west side. Our schools can be quite far from each other in the rural communities, but it also allows for a different experience depending on what you want to teach. You would be able to teach in an urban area such as Chateauguay, or in a very rural area like Huntington or Franklin, where Franklin is an 8-room schoolhouse. We have 2 big high schools. We have 3 adult and vocational centers and 10 elementary schools. One thing we pride ourselves on is we offer opportunities for teachers both inside and outside the classroom, including pedagogical and technical consulting roles, administration, and more. For us, one of the, as Nikki was saying, her board is very active with the buses and the metros. We are not, so we're a little bit more rural. However, if you choose to work in Chateauguay, we are just 25 minutes with a direct bus from Agrio Metro. My map is here. Whoops. Okay. So we also have schools in Valleyfield. We have schools in Huntington, Ormstown, and Chateauguay, with most of our elementary schools, 4 very centered in Chateauguay. One thing I will mention is that with the new 30 that was created, the Highway 30, it has opened up a whole new world for travel from the west to our schools. Benefits of the public sector. Nikki will attest to the benefits.
Super. So we decided to give you a little bit of an idea of what the various benefits are to work in the public sector. First and foremost, you're going to be contributing towards a pension plan. Although you are not thinking about it right now, you're just starting your careers, you will certainly appreciate it several years down the road. Not only will you be receiving your government pension, but you will also be receiving the private pension, the not QPP.
But it's back to back.
There you go, Retraite Quebec. Thank you so much. You will also, once you receive a contract with, at least with the EMSB, within the first 2 years of receiving a contract, you will be participating in a mentorship program. You will be assigned a mentor, and that mentor will guide and support you throughout your first 2 years of your career. There is also professional development. There's professional improvement committees. If you decide to return back to school, you want to take a workshop, you want to take a course, you have benefits that can support and pay for these workshops and whatever you decide to do. There's medical group insurance. You'll have a bank of days, sick days, vacation days, personal days, special leave days. Also, you will be able to contribute, you will be able to have access to an employee assistance program, you and your family. So if ever anybody is going through any difficulties, it's free of charge. Even as a substitute, you will have access to this. You can meet up with a healthcare professional. You can meet up with a counselor if you're going through anything, you or any family member. So those are just a few tiny little benefits that we decided to share with you this evening.
Because I often get asked the question from teachers or applicants, what happens when I change school boards, or where should I start? And I always say your salary moves with you, but your seniority does not. So it's important to find out when you go between school boards or you go to the private sector, what comes with you when you move. And so as Nikki had said, we wanted you to see a little bit about the benefits in the public sector, including the mentorship program and that beloved pension plan that, as Nikki said, you may not be thinking about now, but one day. Okay. Okay, so preparing for your interview. We thought we'd jump right in, and I'm just checking about who's sort of talking about what. So on your CV, don't make us guess. Tell us what your teachables are. Tell us what you enjoy teaching. Do it at the very beginning, the first 3 lines. Just let us know, what you want to teach and what you're studying. It's very important to be clear and concise. We can't guess. We can't read your mind. So tell us. Use a professional format and template. Make sure that you include the years you went to school, where you went to school, that we can clearly understand your path. Example, the Bachelor of Education at McGill. Put what year you're graduating. Put May of 2026, November of 2026. Let us know. Because even if you come to substitute teach a semester or two before you graduate, at least we can flag your file and know when you're going to graduate. Another thing is mention all of your student placements. Also mention any coaching you've done, summer camps you've done, even if it seems trivial, if it's related to your field, if it's related to spending time with children, add it in. Let us know what your passions are. Let us know that you enjoy spending time with them. This is a tricky question, the next one. We've talked about it many times. Should your picture be on your resume? When you drop your resume online into one of our databases or our postings, you do not need to add your picture. Your picture is irrelevant. Like your age, your marital status, any of that, it's not relevant. However, I will say when you come to a career fair, having your picture on it's not always a bad idea because we do get to see you face to face and it helps us with putting notes because I always joke and say the same story. I write things like person in the yellow sweater. So I remember who I spoke to. But please know that you do not need to put your picture on anything. And then when I move to the next page, whoops, you do not need to include your age, your marital status. All of that is irrelevant to us.
We actually don't want, if you don't mind me stepping in, we actually
yeah, go
don't
ahead.
want you to mention that.
Yeah.
It's pretty much, outdated. If
Yeah.
anybody told you to put that on your CV, it's definitely
Don't do
outdated.
it.
So please don't do that. Sorry, Kim.
No, you're absolutely right. We don't want it. It's not. Go ahead, Clarice. Oh,
You're on mute.
Sorry about that. I was just agreeing with you both that the age, the marital status is irrelevant, especially sometimes for our candidates who come from maybe they're internationally educated before they move here. In other places, it's okay, but here it is you do not need to, we do not need to know how old you are, what's your marital status. That's irrelevant to whether we can hire you or not. And again, Kim, do you want me to just
yeah, you
go
can
on?
continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So, one of the things we also want you to take note of is have an email address that is appropriate. I'm glad to say, I haven't seen an inappropriate one from McGill yet, actually. So you're doing something that's really right because most of you use your McGill email, but sometimes after McGill, people have personal emails sometimes that are really the monikers are, they could be crazy. So we suggest use a variation of your name just so that even from the email, I can tell who you are. First, a variation of your first and last name would be fine, but do not include sometimes information there that is, or an email address that would raise eyebrows. I have an example. I'm not sure if I should share it, but yeah,
Do it.
don't. Oh, let me tell you the worst one. Okay, I'll probably share the worst one I've seen. I probably saw one that said "sexy Lucifer," and at something whatever, and it just raised a few eyebrows. Like, okay, is this you're applying for a professional job? We want our first impression of you to be professional and not your first impression of my first impression of you should be, I would be wondering, what is this person about? Okay. So make sure you have your phone number correctly on your CV as well. There have been people that I've met whose phone numbers are wrong. Um, and most importantly, tailor the cover letter to the job you're applying for. It is not nice when I see an application to Lester B. Pearson and the person is talking about Sir Wilfrid Laurier because they were applying to, and I understand you're applying to several places at the same time, but just those are the little things that you need to cross-check. I may not necessarily disqualify you for it. I will not. I will read through it. I understand we're all looking for a job, but just looking over that cover letter before you hit upload just makes you a little bit more professional, right? And one of the things we're seeing a lot of is people using AI, Chat GPT, Claude, Perplexity, whatever AI tool you're using to help create CVs, right? And that is the tools are there. You can use them. They can help you. But you need to check for accuracy. And it's very easy to tell when someone has used AI and they haven't bothered to go through it, because sometimes there's check marks, there's other things that come up. Sometimes the language is quite repetitive and you can tell that, and then sometimes it uses very generic phrases that you need to tailor now to suit your own personal reality. And if you do not go back and check, simple things like for example, it would give you a cover letter that is, and then in the place of a date, it would say include the date. And I've had
Yeah.
people who have not edited whatever AI generated for them. And you can see clearly it says insert date in here and the date is not inserted, right? So if you're using AI, there are tools that you can use. There are tools that can help you to be a little bit more productive or help you to be a little bit more efficient, but make sure you're looking them over because it is an AI tool. It is not exactly perfect. It is not accurate, and it would not necessarily replace sometimes the way you want to present yourself. So those are just maybe for a start, some of the tips that we're looking for when you're presenting your CV, and we want you to be as professional as possible. Okay?
And honestly, you guys, this may look like common sense, but if the fact that we're mentioning it means we've seen a lot of things.
Yes.
And we want you to know that, I had somebody come back to me and say, well, you didn't call me back. I'm like, your phone number's not right. They're like, what?
Yeah.
And they're missing a digit.
Yes.
Or the email address is incorrect. We were talking about interesting email addresses. I had somebody that had one of a sexual nature that was so inappropriate, I couldn't possibly pass on that to somebody else. I had somebody talk about how they like playing with knives. I mean, some of these things, just make yourself a professional one. Make it with your name, like Clarice said. Just, make sure it's one that you check as well.
Oh, Kim, could I just add
Yeah.
as well that sometimes people, when you're applying online, they apply using Indeed, and Indeed would blur out your
Yes.
email if you hit apply right from Indeed. And when I receive it, the email address is usually a long phrase with Indeed at the end that I cannot tell what your actual email is. So if you're applying from Indeed as well, just make sure you're using a PDF version of your CV, and your actual email is on the CV you're uploading. Because if you don't do that and you're relying on Indeed to transmit your email, I will not see your email, and I cannot call back somebody whose contact information I do not have.
Exactly. Thank you, Clarice. So for career fairs, here we come on next Wednesday. We are looking forward to seeing all of you there. And we thought we would give you a little bit of a tip. The gang of us together have gone to many, many career fairs. And we noticed that, that perhaps, there's a certain way that everyone should sort of present themselves. And we really want you to put your best foot forward. It's not just about us, it's about the entire room that you're going to see. All of the school boards are going to show up. All these opportunities for you are going to show up. Teaching abroad, teaching up north, they're all going to be there. We want you to put your best foot forward. So Nikki's going to start us off.
Sure. So it's a very exciting time of the year for us. It's basically Christmas all over again to us. At this time of year, we're attending many, many different career fairs, and we're super excited to be attending the one at McGill next week, Tuesday, February 3rd, from noon till 4 p.m. All three of us will definitely be there, amongst many other school boards and potential employers, at 3480 McTavish in the Ballroom University Center. I'm just plugging it once again. Okay, so basically what happens is at a career fair, it's not necessarily an interview. It's a meet and greet. It's not something where we're going to have a very long conversation with you. We're going to be meeting so many people at the same time. However, we want you to put your best foot forward. With that being said, please come dressed appropriately, business casual. Don't come in shredded jeans, torn jeans, sweatpants, crop tops. I know it sounds a little bit, insane for us to actually say this, but come looking somewhat professional. You don't need to come in a suit and a tie and, a skirt and heels. We don't need that. We don't want that. We just want you to look put together and professional. That's all we're asking. When you come to our table, feel free to ask us any particular specific questions that you may have in mind. If you have any questions in your mind already that you want to share with us, by all means, share the questions with us. there's going to, at our table, at the EMSB table, we're going to be 4 to 5 representatives that day. As with many of the other school boards, we'll have many representatives. We're going to try and speak to as many people as possible. I know it can be a little chaotic. If you wish, we suggest you can ask us up to 3 very important questions that you want answered. If there's not enough time, don't be shy. Ask us for our business card. Ask us for our name. Follow up with an email after the interview and say, we had a conversation at the career fair. I did not get an opportunity to ask you a few more additional questions. Do you mind? And then certainly, we can put a name to a face. For those of you that are actually graduating this May, I strongly urge you to bring a physical CV with you. Although we're living in a very tech savvy green period right now, we want you to bring your CV because we put notes on these CVs. And what it means is, we're going to call you in for an interview. Each and every one of us is having our spring interviews coming up. Ours is going to be in March 19th. So you're going to receive a phone call sometime in February asking you to come in for the interview. You're going to receive a special time slot. And we want to classify them by the interview slots by teachables. So if you're a French teacher, we're going to be interviewing the French teachers with a specific group, physical education teachers with a different group. So all that to say is please indicate the information that we need on your CVs, like Clarice and Kim mentioned. Put dates on your CVs. It's very relevant and very important to us. And like I said, please don't be shy to reach out to us following the career fair.
Thank you, Nikki. I will reiterate what Nikki said about bringing a paper CV. I know it makes us sound 100 years old, but we do make notes. We make interesting notes on them sometimes. Like if your teachable is math, but you can also teach music, we will make a note of that on there. Sometimes we make a note on how to remember you when you call or when you come forward. It's different things that will trigger us when we go back and triage all your CVs. So we appreciate if you bring paper CVs, offer them up when you get to the table, and be ready with your questions. Clarice, do you have anything to add?
Oh, no, go ahead. Go on.
You're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Before applying, this is a bit of a big thing for me because we get lots and lots of applications and nobody's checked out the territory. So I would say that 1/3 of the people that I interview are unable to get to some of our schools. So I would say, and just because they use public transport or it's a little far for them, they're not willing to drive that far. So research the school board and the territory that you are applying for. Find out if it's somewhere where you want to be, if maybe where you want to live, stuff like that. Make sure that you're able to, one, get to the schools in a reasonable amount of travel time, know which schools are accessible to you by the means of transportation that you use. As we discussed before, check the spelling and the grammar on your CV. Shockingly, what the grammar can be sometimes. And when you're using AI, as Clarice mentioned, sometimes it doesn't necessarily sound like you would say something. So maybe tweak it to sound like yourself. Make sure your cover letter is addressed properly. And social media. Be vigilant. Please remember that a lot of your stuff can be viewed if they are not private. You want to present yourself in the best light. Am I saying don't be you on your social media? Be you, but be very aware of who can see what, who's sharing what, and what we can find as well. Because what we can find, parents can find. So it's not just about us interviewing you. It's about what happens when we hire you and you go into our schools and a parent looks you up. We want you to be presented in the best light possible, and you are allowed to have your private life private. Because once you become a teacher, things are not as private as you think they are. So we just want you to be ready for that part of it as well. Does it move? Okay, online interview.
Yeah.
You want to do the online one, Clarice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. So our interview formats, sometimes we do online interviews. Some of you have met virtually, and then for annual interview sessions, we do in-person interviews. I think since COVID, a lot of interviews have moved to an online format. But whether you're coming in person or we're seeing you virtually, I think a lot of the rules still apply. Find a quiet space if you're doing an online interview. Um, it will be hard to do an interview if you're sitting in the cafeteria, for example, because there's people passing behind you. It's very distracting and you will not be able to concentrate, right? Make sure you're not going to be interrupted. You have a limited amount of time to impress a recruiter and also to make sure that it's a good fit for you. So make sure that you are in a quiet space, it's free of distractions. Make sure your internet connection, for example, is good as well, right? If you're using your phone, I do a lot of interviews on Microsoft Teams, but I'm also aware that a lot of people don't use it in their day-to-day lives. So I always ask them, try and log in 5 minutes before and test out your connection, or try to test it out the day before. Make sure you've downloaded Teams. It's a free application. You can also open it up on your computer, but just test to make sure that it's integrated properly with your microphones and with your cameras and your video cameras working. There have been so many times I've come into an interview, we've come into an interview and stuff is not working because it wasn't tested. And we have to walk the candidate through, okay, check your microphone. This is where the drop down arrow is. And I'm not saying you need to be perfect, but there are things that you need to, prepare ahead of time. So again, like I said, log in 5 minutes before. And if you're coming in person, like all of us will have annual recruitment sessions starting soon, check the travel time. A lot of our sessions are happening after school hours, and some of the first interviews fall within peak travel period where there's a lot of traffic, there's a lot of congestion. So if you're coming, make sure to check the travel time and that you're able to make it and adjust yourself for traffic, for congestion on the roads. If you're driving or if you're taking public transit, sometimes it's the same. Dress appropriately as well. Do not, no hats, no ripped jeans. I've had somebody come into the interviews eating lunch. It has happened, or somebody wearing their shades. We need to see your face. We need to know who you are. Dress appropriately as well. You're representing yourself. You want to show your best. You want to put your best foot forward. So do that as well. Ask about parking if you're coming to an in-person interview as well. A lot of us as recruiters, we would give you those details when we're sending you the interview invite. Parking is located at the side of the building, and we will tell you exactly how to go to reception and all that. So just make sure you're checking all of those before you come to interviews. And let me just comment on something somebody just put in the chat while we're talking about some of the interview tips is if you have your LinkedIn, can you put it on your CV? Yes, you can put your LinkedIn on your CV because LinkedIn is pretty professional. And one of the things I've also noticed is if you have a professional profile or you have a portfolio of work, some teachers do, and they have their own personal websites. It has been really interesting for me to go back and see. They put a link to it to go back to see what some of you teachers are doing outside of just regular classroom. And so that is also an additional way for you to boost yourself because we're looking at some of the work that you've done. And a lot of it, honestly, is pretty impressive, even as a student. So if you have a personal portfolio that you've put together and you have a link to your personal website as well, put it somewhere at the top of your CV or maybe right after your personal profile or at some point where we can clearly see it. And I am sure to, and we're all sure to check it as well. Okay, and we would should we answer one more question in the chat before
Sure.
you go ahead? Cam Morin asked if it is good to meet more than 1 year out from graduating. The earlier you can start, the better because because you're laying the foundation for for looking for contracts eventually. For Lester B. Pearson, from your third year, you can start after your third field placement. You can be an emergency sub with us. So if it's okay to meet, start looking out and start contacting recruiters and school boards more than a year before you graduate. I assume you're in your third year, you're going into your fourth year. Please, by all means, do. I'm always happy to meet with candidates. If I need to meet with you further down the line, I'll give myself a nice reminder and send you an email later on to say, hey, we met at such and such a time in the past. Are you happy to pick up the conversation again? So please, those are all things that you should take note of when you're preparing for your interviews, whether it's an online interview or it is an in-person interview. Nikki, I thought you had something to add, yeah?
Sure. No, I'm just wanted to add that, when it comes to obtaining a substitute teacher subcard for us, like Lester B. Pearson, you have to be in your third year, receive a recommendation from the school principal, and you
Yes,
will be able to do some substitute teaching within that same school.
yes.
And that subcard terminates at the end of June. And then once you've graduated, obviously you go through the whole process, or you can always get another recommendation from another principal to receive an interim substitution card.
We are a little bit different because we are smaller.
Wow.
We are able to, sorry, that changed screens.
Yes, you changed the
Oh,
screens a little
sorry.
bit. It's your teams.
Um, okay, sorry. I don't know where the other way. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Okay. Sorry, one of my bosses was sending me something after hours. Um, Okay, so for New Frontiers, we are a little bit we're smaller, and therefore Scalago works very well for us for substitution. For the bigger boards, it's not the same as it's a bit of a beast. So for us, we allow students from the second year, and if you have experience in summer camps or daycares or in sports, we may sometimes allow you to substitute using Scalago in your second semester. But most of the time, it's from the second year on that you are allowed to be on Scalago and start subbing for us. Everybody sort of has their different ways. And when you come and visit our tables on when we're there, we can each give you a way to the different ways we do things. One of the things about I wanted to just direct to the being prepared for questions. What this is part of the question that I was sort of thinking about was when you come to our tables and you have your questions that you have for us, we also have questions for you when we interview you. So we wanted to sort of address that, you guys are going to come and say, how do I sub? How do I do this? But also be ready for us to ask you a couple of very interesting questions. So I will leave that with Nikki to start.
Perfect. I see we have a hand up. Should we address
Oh,
it now or?
sure.
Yes, hello. Since you started answering the questions in the chat, I told myself maybe it was the right time. Uh, I've heard that I asked the ESMB how could I do or what should I do to start subbing or applying to permanent positions, and I was told that you are doing a series of interviews in March.
Correct.
Um, so I'm trying to do the follow-up with the person I talked about last November. But since you're here, I wanted to ask you, what do you need from me to make sure that I can be invited to the interviews in March?
Perfect. So you can either send it to me directly. You'll receive my contact information at the end of this, or you can send it to a specific email address. It's called teaching@emsb.qc.ca. All of the CVs that we receive to that particular email address are being triaged, and qualified candidates will be invited to a session. They will be given an opportunity at a specific date at a specific time on March 19th.
And I don't know if I heard you correctly, but you were saying that, for example, see if we are already working in a school. So I'm doing, for example, my first placement in one of your schools, and I have been tutoring in another of your schools. If the principals of these schools send a letter saying that I'm suitable to start subbing, you were saying that that could actually help with the process, right?
Are you in your third year at minimum?
I'm doing my second year and a master's
Second year.
degree.
Okay.
Second year in the
Okay.
MATL.
Oh, MATL. Okay. So send all that information over and then we can have that discussion. But yes, as long as you have a recommendation from the principal, there is the opportunity.
So it's teaching at
Teaching at
EMSB.
emsb.qc.ca.
Thank you so much.
A pleasure. Super. Okay, so I'm going to get right into it. When it comes to being prepared for certain questions, we have a list of things that we'd like to mention to you. But before I actually get into that, I wanted to mention during the actual interview process, we have a grid. Okay, there's a grid at the end. We give a point for every factor. So when it comes to communication, we want to make sure that you're able to communicate well. How do you communicate with your colleagues, the parents, the principals, etc. When it comes to classroom planning and teaching, we want to know that you understand very well the QEP, the Quebec Education Program. Are you able to develop daily lesson plans linked to long-range planning? Can you describe some of your best lesson plans? What did you learn from that? Can you describe one of your worst lesson plans? What did you learn from that as well? And how can you overall improve? Evaluations. What type of evaluations do you use? Formative, summative, informal, formal? That's very important. You need to give us some very good examples. Also, when it comes to differentiation, we have a large population of students with special needs. We have some closed classrooms. However, we pride ourselves on integration. So you need to be able to know what an IEP is, an individualized education plan. Have you ever contributed during your internship to preparing an IEP? Have you seen it? Do you know what it's all about? What's the difference between adapted and modified programs? So these are a few extra things that we give you additional points on. And any volunteer work? What's your history? What extracurricular activities are you able to contribute to a school? Very important. We want to know, we want you to become a part of the school, which is a very important factor. So that's our grid. Now I'm just going to get it back to our slide. So when you come to the interview, let us know, what was your favorite part of some of your internships? What did you learn from your internships? Is there anything that you went through that you didn't necessarily anticipate? Let's discuss your teachables. What type of contracts are you interested in acquiring? Full-time, part-time? Let us know. Like I mentioned, the QEP competencies, special needs in our classrooms, classroom and organizational skills. What will your classroom look like? If I walked into your classroom today, what would it look like? Please give me a description. I want to see that enthusiasm. You went into this profession for a reason. Let us know why. And like I said, extracurricular activities, interests. What other interests do you have that could be very fun and exciting for you to share with the student population? It's an exciting period for you. We want to get to know you. Let yourself shine through during that interview. You only have a 30-minute period to be with us. So let us know why you went into this profession. Very important for us.
Thank you, Nikki. And I agree with Nikki, you know, like when you come in to tell us things, don't be shy. Like if you really enjoy teaching math, we're going to ask you, why do you enjoy teaching math? And I'm sure there's a story. Why did you choose phys ed? One of these questions on here is very important. For me, I feel is, what type of contract will you accept? I find that over the years that students assume that, you know, a 70% contract will never become 100, or that they cannot tell me that they only want a 50. We have some very, very good teachers that say, I just want a 50. I have a home life, or I'm doing the master's program at night, or just many reasons. So please never be shy to express what you want, as well as answer our questions. So we are going to go a little bit into that, because I'm sure all of you are wondering about what contracts look like. Every school board has a little bit different. I'm just going to go to the next slide. Okay, so this sort of falls in line with the questions that you may have for us. It's really important to be articulate and know exactly what you want to ask, because as Nikki mentioned, you only have 30 minutes. And I'm sure it's the same for Clarice. We have a very certain time frame that we want to stick within. Write down your questions, how to ask about your salary. In Quebec, it's very plain. Like there's the collective agreement. stipulates how you will be paid. How you get to that step, if what you have is your bachelor's degree and your brevet, chances are you are on step 3. That's really just a no-brainer. And we don't control that. I want you guys to know that there's no negotiation on salary when it comes to the public sector. Your education and your experience determines your salary. If this is your second bachelor or if you have a master's, yes, it'll change. Can we tell you in the interview? We can make a little bit of a guess, but we can't give you a confirmation until we do the evaluation. Okay. So we are not dodging the question, and it's not really a negotiation. It's just we can't tell you until we send out your documents for to get evaluated by CPNCA. A lot of questions that people ask me are, is there a mentorship program? Co-teaching. We do co-teach in New Frontiers. Often you have a French teacher and English teacher, because most of our schools are 50-50. So you would have 2 groups and you would alternate days. That's how, we work. So when you go in for your interview, don't be shy to ask how that works. Shall we do a little bit of priority list for each of us, how that works?
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Clarice, would you like to go first about your priority list and contracts?
Yeah, sure. So priority list at Lester B. Pearson, in order to get on that list, you need to have held 2 contracts of at least 100 days over 2 different academic years. So let's say you started in 2020, you started in 2023, 24, you held a contract of 100 days, that counts. And then in 2024, 2025, if you only held a contract of 50 days, unfortunately, that would not count. But then in 2025, 26, you had another contract of 100 days, that will count as your second contract. So even if you skip the year in between, as long as you held 2 contracts of at least 100 days over 2 different calendar years, 2 different academic years, that would count. It may not necessarily be in the same teachable, because we also recognize that people have competencies in other areas. So we have students, for example, teachers that have a bachelor's in another area, in addition to your bachelor's in education, that they're competent to teach. So we would also consider that. So that's generally the process for priority pool. Now, sometimes, again, if you are, for those that are doing I would say the PIF program, or those that are very proficient in French, we find that there are certain areas or certain teachables that we are really in short supply, that we struggle to find teachers. And those are some of the areas I find, like math sometimes is also one of them, because if I'm going by last year, there were very few graduates from the secondary math program. And so sometimes when you have those teachables where they're in short supply, let's say you do French. I'm emphasizing on French because that is probably the one at the top of my list. And you already have your French test. Let's say you've done the CEFRAN, or you've done the DAV that we accept, or you did a tech fair in the past. If you have that, chances are sometimes you may be able to even obtain a contract faster than the priority pool requirements, because we have tended, if we go by experience and what has happened in the past, that we've typically started the school year still with quite a few shortages in French, for French second language teaching or French immersion teachers. So that's generally how the priority pool process works for us. So priority pool will take place at the end of the academic year, typically at the end of June. And once that is, because we are contractually, because we're unionized as well, have to follow the priority pool process for teachers who already held contracts to get new positions. And once that is over, then principals sometime in July, between mid-July and August and the start of the school year, they may be able now to hire someone that was not in priority, because there are still other contracts that are left after the priority pool period is done. So I will leave that there for now, Nikki.
Perfect. It's actually quite similar with us as well. There is a few nuances that are a little bit different. For the English Montreal School Board, you have to have, to get on our priority, what we call our recall list, is 2 contracts of 100 days or more in a 3-year period.
Yeah.
for us. Because we have the MTA, Montreal Teachers Association, and that local agreement. So that's what we follow. So that's how you get on our priority list. So just like Clarice said, we have our recall meetings in June. After that, if there are any vacancies, once again, that we were unable to fill with qualified teachers, we can go to teachers that were recently hired or received recommendations from the principals. HR evaluates the file and lets the principal know, yes, you can have this person, or no, we have someone else who has additional credentials that would fit the bill. So in essence, we look at what your brevet says. What is your teachable on your brevet? We go with that, and afterwards, if you have any additional work experience, then we can take that into consideration. But the first priority goes by what's on your brevet, at least with us as well.
Yes, the same. Yeah.
So we as well work similar. When it comes to the 2 contracts in 3 years, they have to be of significant time. We don't always do exactly 100 days. It may be 95. But we are the same when it comes to that. We have collective agreements that cover all of that. Interesting enough, because we are a small board, our priority list is not very big. We are as well in search of teachers in our rural communities. We are in search of French teachers. So there is the opportunity every now and then to obtain a permanent position quite quickly. We do the same thing though. In June, we have to do our recall session. We have to do our priority session, and then we go on the outside. A little different in our situation is, as a recruiter, I have the lists of all the recommendations from the principals, and we keep track of everybody sort of through this list. And then we go to it once we are in need. I will say that we were very lucky after last year's career fair that we were able to fill a lot of our positions. Again, the same as Nikki and Clarice, we look at what your teachable is, but then we also look at what you did your stages in and what experience you may have from subbing. It really depends. For the different types of contracts, we do have replacement contracts in the E2s. So it's a little different how all of that works. We do have part-time contracts. We noticed that this year we had a number of 50% contracts for graduates who were interested in going into the master's program. So they would say to me, I'm just looking for 50. So sometimes when we had a 100% position, we're like, well, that could actually be 2 50s. And then we were able to satisfy that need by hiring 2 master's students. It's interesting how it can unfold differently in every school board, but as a whole, we all have to do our priority sessions in June, and then we move forward, and then we start looking at our list and all of you. And I will say something that I heard my husband say to a friend about teaching when they first came out of school was, never worry if in June you don't have a job, because many, many things open up in August. Many things open up in September. Don't freak yourselves out if there's nothing in June. We are still working with our teachers on our lists. But come August, when, sometimes we have more enrollment, we have maternity leaves, we have people who suddenly choose to retire, we have medical leaves. Like once the school year starts, it's amazing how many positions open up. So I will say, keep an eye out on our websites, keep an eye out on the job postings that we have. Always keep subbing, and that way you get seen, and that will eventually probably lead to a contract. That's your foot in the door. Anybody want to add anything? We're all good?
We're good.
Maybe just to add there, Nikki, because we had a point there about Kim, about subbing. That subbing happens on Scolago for us as well as New Frontiers. With Nikki, it's a little bit different. So for us, it's an automated platform where once you've been interviewed, and typically as well, students in your 4th year, as of this year, students who are in your final year or students who are enrolled on an MLTL program or qualifying or the master's program, they are able to go on Scolago and pick up replacement opportunities. And so once you've been interviewed and you're on Scolago, you do not need to renew it at the end of the year because you stay active. However, if you become inactive on the platform after a period of time, you do get a prompt after 6 months or to a year of inactivity, whether you want to maintain the profile. If after a year, I give a little bit of grace and there's no activity on it, your account may be archived just because you haven't used it in a while. So we ask as well that, let's say you're unavailable for whatever reason, or you've moved school board, so you found a contract elsewhere, just let me know, and so that I know what to do with your Scolago account.
And if those of you who are already on Scolago, if you do take a contract, just slide yourself as unavailable.
Yeah, as
And
well.
then we won't see you because we use a filter for those who are available.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
unfortunately, EMSB, we don't have Scolago. We have an in-house program called ATSS. So basically, once you receive your virtual substitution card, you will have access to this and you'll be able to see the positions that are available. But I have to say, the best thing to do is to make contacts at the school. Make the school secretary your best friend.
Yes.
She will call you, or a teacher whom you've subbed for before will say, you know what, so-and-so did an excellent job when I was absent that day. I want to call her again or him again.
Yeah.
So, you know what, make a good impression at the school level, make connections, use your networking capabilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we looking for?
I can take this if you wish.
Sure, go ahead, Nick.
Sure. Okay, so this is on all fronts for all three of us, pretty much. We're all looking for dedicated, motivated, responsible, and disciplined individuals. And obviously someone who likes to work in a school environment, loves working around students, whether it be youth or adults. You must be a team player. We appreciate individuals that work well with others, that are collegial, collaborate, and in essence are working well with individuals with their teams. Also, we encourage lifelong learning. So that's why we have the professional improvement committees. So, continual growth is definitely appreciated. Excellent communication and interpersonal skills. So pretty much that sums it up for me. Kim?
For us, we're looking for flexibility. We're looking for patience. We have a lot of inclusivity. We are looking for the same thing: motivated, dedicated, responsible. Clarice, anything to add?
I wanted to touch on the point of excellent communication and interpersonal skills, just because I've had an example of this. So I understand as well that when you come to an interview, you have probably after the interview, you have questions, even after you've been onboarded. If it's been successful and you've been onboarded, you have questions. Please, when you are sending an email out to the person who interviewed you, it could be myself or someone else in HR, make sure just cover the main points and make sure be concise, get to the point, tell me what the issue is, and I will respond. Some of the things that have happened with some of our candidates has been, I've had candidates, I think they wake up at midnight and think of one question and they send me an email. And the next day they think of another question and they send me an email. And I've had like a chain of 15 emails from one person. And I call this person up to say, while I appreciate that you have all of these questions, it seems a little bit, it doesn't show you as very organized when every day you think of something else. And I think if you're sending this to a school, for example, and you're dealing with your principal, you'll find that they'll get very annoyed with you very quickly if you keep sending, like you think of one question and you send it and you think of it the next day and you send it. Organize your thoughts. Pick out what you want to ask, put it in a nice email, put in an email, and we would get back to you. So excellent communication also means your demeanor, because it's not just what you say, it's how you say it, how you come across. You want to come across as approachable and someone else that is, with you. You are a cultural fit for the school and for the board. So just make sure that, however you're presenting yourself, like I always say, put yourself in the best light, be the best version of yourself at all times.
Amen to that.
And what
Because
I
I
would
agree.
recommend is, sorry to
It's
cut
okay.
you off, Kim, but what I would also recommend is apply to all of the school boards. In
Yeah.
the end, it's whoever gives you the contract first.
Yeah.
And we know very well if I live in RDP, I'm not necessarily going to want to work at a school in Hudson. So,
Yes.
you know, take that into consideration as well. But you know what? If you're capable of getting to each and every one of our schools, our school boards, by all means apply to all the school boards and whoever gives you the contract first. You're going to go to one school, it'll be a completely different culture. You can
Yes.
go to a school in the East End and go to a school in the West End, and it's a completely different culture. So you're going to find where you feel most comfortable in, if I can just say that.
No, you're right. And you know what? Sometimes it's surprising that people take I have a young lady from Montreal East who was at the French board and did a stage with us. She's like, I want to be in Hemmingford. I'm like, that's far. She's like, I love it. I'm like, okay. So you never know where you may end up. As you know, you can tell I've been keeping an eye on the chat. I wanted you guys to see that I've been keeping an eye on the chat, so you didn't feel ignored. So now we're going to go look a little bit at the chat. Okay. So yes for the CB, yes for the CB with LinkedIn connections. We did this, we did this. You answered the email, yeah. Lester B does have a similar to EMSB in the spring hiring. All school boards do. This was a cute one from Jacob asking what was the most memorable from people attending job fairs. Does anybody have something that pops out in their mind?
I do.
I do. I have a
Okay, go
couple.
ahead,
Okay,
Clarice.
go.
Um, we had a candidate last year actually who was hired at the job fair, the McGill job fair, hired for high school science, and she came in very prepared, very professional, had her CV, was able to talk about her experience, what she was looking for. And I had a principal right there with us as well who was there. We all remembered her because he said, "Oh, I'll give you a call right after this." And the next week, she was out working in one of our schools. I've also had candidates at interviews. Generally, it's the person who presents themselves, whose passion shines through, the love for teaching. You know, they light up when they're talking about some of the projects that they've worked on, some of the lessons that they've prepared. And you remember, oh, this is that person that spoke about this. And so sometimes that's how you stand out really. It's just being you and let your passion and your energy and your enthusiasm shine through.
Go ahead, Nikki.
Clarice, you couldn't have said it better. The candidate that I'm thinking about in particular came to the career fair last year at McGill, and she was so enthused, and she just shined through. Everything about her shined through. And when we had our March session, you know, she came to the session, and I remembered her. There's a few people that I actually remembered. So you know what? Shine through. Let your passion shine through. You're becoming a teacher for a reason. Let us know why. Let it shine. Let it come through. It's a part of your life now.
Yeah. And I just wanted to say there's somebody in this meeting right now that I do remember when we had the info day at McGill. She came up to the table and I was looking and when she said her name, I was like, now that is you. And something she mentioned at her interview, I could see because sometimes now I seeing her in person, I understood why she mentioned that. And I will probably never forget her name, but it's those little things about yourself that you share and that make us remember who you are.
I will actually say a similar story to Clarice. There's somebody in the room who I just recently did a stage with us, and the principal emailed me and said, I want her. So it's fun. It's fun when we get to meet you guys and we get to see who you are. For me, it was last year, same thing. I interviewed somebody came to the table, passionate about teaching gym, had taken a semester off and had gone to teach on a cruise ship, like athletics on a cruise ship. And he walked away, and I knew I had somebody going on medical leave. And I walked away and looked at my colleague and went, call the principal. And that gentleman was working for us like 6 days later. So I think that if you, Nikki and Claire said, if you shine through, if you come prepared, have your CV, you're put together, you have a couple of good questions. That's what we notice. We notice when you're ready for it. So let's see the next question. What happens if we start on scale 3 and then complete a master's program during our first years? So salary step goes up. You go up in scolarité based on 30 credits.
Yeah.
So every time you finish 30 credits, we have your file reevaluated. I would say it's very individual because some people finish their bachelor's with a couple extra credits, 3, 6 extra credits. Some people are exactly on the 120 mark or 90 mark. Or the best thing to do is that when you start taking these classes is that you have a conversation with somebody in HR. For example, at New Frontiers, it's me. I will tell you when the next time you should be sending me a transcript. Is it 15 credits? Is it 18 credits? Is it 30 credits? And then that's when you go up. I will make a note because this is something important that I've noticed with students that are the recent graduates of the last few years. You're doing your master's programs.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go up automatically the day you graduate. There is a time frame in the collective agreement. Teachers only go up twice a year. And you have to fall within that time frame. Like if you finished in August or September or there's all these different days. I had somebody finish in November. She doesn't go up till January 31st. You also have to own that you need to send us your transcripts in a timely manner. We are not going to retroactive your pay because you forgot 8 months to give us your transcripts. So there's all these little pieces, but talk to somebody in the HR department. Ask for Clarice, ask for Nikki, ask for myself. We will guide you on how to get that next level from your education. Let's see. Lester Beats post on the website. Are we able to get virtual interviews if you cannot attend the spring session?
Yes.
Yeah.
We
Same
do
thing.
know that some of you go up north for stages, which is one amazing experience. So yes, including us, we do online interviews. If we're doing a master's outside of Quebec, how will the scale work? It has to all be evaluated by CPNCA. Again, we don't control the paycheck. We control entering the information given to us. So we would send your documentation from outside of Quebec to CPNCA. If they have it in their database, it'll come back very quickly. If they don't, it takes 6 to 9 months to get an answer from them. But all of that to say, if you get it to us in a timely manner, we do pay attention and we do our very best to get you on the proper scale as soon as possible. Well, the slides of yes, the recording will be shared after. Oh, there's Angus. Yeah. I think we're done. Does anybody else? I think if I haven't answered your question, please, let us know. Can you repeat the name of the organization? Okay, that is done, Christine. That is done by a school board. Teachers cannot present themselves directly to have their transcripts evaluated.
No.
CPNCA is done through HR.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody hand up Stéphane Bernard?
Yes, I think I'm the only one that prefers to talk instead of writing the questions.
Go ahead.
I'm actually, in my case, this teaching is my second career. So I wanted to ask you, in my CV, this is like very technical question. Should I put like the first, all that is related to teaching? Like all my experience related to teaching, and then the previous experience that can be interesting for you or can be related. How would you prefer to see in a CV that information?
Want me to answer?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, super. So, is there any way that you can take your previous career and somehow summarize it rather than going into in detail? So we might not necessarily need to know the details. However, maybe you can kind of summarize that. Your CV, we don't want it to be more than 2 pages.
Okay, yeah.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. We do get CVs that are extremely long with all these tiny little details about things that you may have published or all of this stuff. For us, a summary, once you hit 2 pages, it should be summarized. Give us the key points. And again, I know I've said it before in this, if you have experience, straight on experience working with children, of all levels, whether it's coaching, whether it's day camps, whether it's after school programs, whether it's tutoring, please list them and list them clearly so that, Tim Hortons Day Camp, the Canadian Tire Jumpstart. All of these things show us your passion.
Okay, perfect. I have a better idea. I'm going to teach social sciences, and previously I was doing government relations. So I think there's things that can be used. And related to that, if I have a previous master's degree in political science, do you consider the degree in political science for the salary, for example? Like, if it's something that it's helpful because I'm teaching social science in the end?
Well, what happens is that all of your documentation, all of your transcripts, everything gets sent to the government body for evaluation. They tell us what step it gives you, and we
Okay.
put that in. So if
Okay.
they deem that you have, a scholarity level of 20, then you go to a certain step. That's a little bit out of our control. Like, we will just send everything off and they will come back to us.
Okay. And I will cross my fingers for them
Yeah.
to pay him more. Pay him more. Okay. Great. Thank
Are there
you.
any other questions? Ladies, can you see the full screen?
The
Because I
last
can't.
one there's a last question in the chat.
Okay.
So it says, during the career fair, how long should the conversations be with each booth? So I guess you mentioned that you want to make sure that you're not taking too much time. So the McGill Career Fair is very busy. We do not have enough time to answer all of your questions. And like we mentioned in the past, come prepared. Summarize your most important questions and ask them, one or two at the max, three. We'll have several reps at each booth that you can talk to. For Lester B. Pearson, I come with my colleagues. We have a principal, we have a teacher. So there's at least 4 or 5 of us. So we spread out in terms of answering questions, but it is super busy. Take a business card. If we haven't answered all of your questions, bring a CV, because sometimes you say something and we note it on the CV and we would follow up with you. Take a business card. If you have additional questions, send an email and explain and let me know, and we would get back to you. So try to keep it as you wouldn't even have the opportunity to go on for too long, because there's going to be a queue at the table. So bring your most important questions, your top 3, top 2, ask them, and then if you have any follow-up questions, get back to us afterwards, and we will be happy to schedule some time to speak with you.
Very well said, Clarice.
Now I'm trying to figure out how to get back to my. Oh, can you see my PowerPoint?
Yeah, we're at the question period. So this brings us pretty much to the end.
Yeah. So
and
this
our
is
contact info.
We're going to put this up for a minute for all of you to see, just so you can see that what our email addresses are and who we are. We will all be there next Wednesday. Now that you see what we look like, you can come and say hello. We all have little stuff to hand out. We will have brochures to hand out. We will have our business cards to hand out. I know that Nikki and Clarice have visited the education building atrium over the last week. I will be there in 2 weeks, but we will all be there on Wednesday to meet with you.
Tuesday.
On a final
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Oh my gosh, I keep saying Wednesday. I swear I will show up on Tuesday. I'm just going to close this off. Oh, here we are.
Yes.
Those again. So see you then.
Yeah.
Did I get the wrong day? Please don't tell me I got the wrong day.
No, you didn't get the wrong day.
Yeah.
So the career fair is Tuesday, February 3rd.
Yeah.
And before I let Kim give the final word, remember, you've put in all the work. You are close to graduation. You are excellent. You have done well. Like I tell our candidates that come into the interview, don't be nervous. It's about things that
right.
you have done. We're not asking you questions. We're not trying to trick you. We're not trying to get you to, no, there's nothing abstract we're asking you. We're trying to get to know you and your interests and your passions and what you bring into the classroom. So do not be nervous. Come to us. Ask the question, even if you're not sure whether it is the right questions. If you don't ask the questions, you will not have the answers anyway. So come prepared, be comfortable. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid to follow up, especially. And we are there to help. I think we are not there to, to be judgmental. We're there to actually help you, because we need you and you need us, hopefully, too.
Beautifully said, Clarice. Beautifully said. And it's true, you guys. It really is. it's the big day for you. It's a huge day
Yes.
for you. Wait to see how many of us there are. The opportunities are about to present themselves to you are incredible. You will have opportunities to work locally, work a little bit outside your comfort zone. You will have the opportunity to go up north, the UK. You will have so much there for you to see. And we really hope that you'll stop by and see us. And I like one thing that Clarice said is, we're not there to trick you or trip you up. We're there to meet you and learn about you. We want you as much as you want us. We're all looking for a good fit. You know, we're just looking for the good fit. We're looking a place where you can call home. And we hope that, you know, you'll find it among one of us. So if you have any questions, like I said, we will be there. You can come and grab our business cards, come say hello. And we look forward to seeing you all.
Yes.
Thank you.
And
And
I-
thank you, Angus, for affording us this opportunity, and
Thank
for
you.
Clarice and for Kim for spearheading this. Thank you so much.
I was just going to say thank you, Nikki, for joining me, and for Clarice. We're a great team all together, and we hope that all of you watching us learned something today, and that you'll be ready for Tuesday. And we will see you then.
Thank you.
Angus, do you want to
Thank
wrap us
you.
up? Take us
Yes.
home?
No, I think that was all great. I mean, I think that it was an incredible presentation. I learned quite a lot too. So, you know, yeah, guys, make sure to go to the career fair on Tuesday. Say hi to Kim, Clarice, and Nikki. And yeah, no, thank you so much for this presentation. I think it was great. It will be posted on YouTube. I should be maybe editing it a bit tonight, hopefully posting it by tomorrow and sending out an email to you guys once it's ready.
Okay.
Well, thank you for joining us,
Bye.
everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a good
you.
evening.
Bye.
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 Bye.